Britain has always been proud of its ceremonial traditions, and this past week saw one of the most lavish, the state opening of Parliament, where the Queen announced the laws the government would like passed in the coming year. Flanked by immaculately dressed guards and a security of a more practical nature, onlookers were entertained by the monarch passing by in all her regalia. But many feel that such displays of pageantry hide concerns that our democracy is being taken for granted. Peter Facey, Director of Unlocked Democracy, certainly feels that Britain's traditional party system of politics is suffering.
It's like having a dying man who's got his hand locked around your throat, and as he dies, rigor mortis sets in and his hand gradually clenches, and then that's what parties are at the moment doing to our state of our democracy. As they die, they're strangling it.
But democracy isn't limited to party politics. Some believe other tenets central to our democracy are under attack. It's argued that recent changes in legislation and press coverage following the 2001 terror attacks have hampered the work of lawyers. We spoke to criminal defense lawyer Rob Duncan, whose client is accused of conspiring to use explosives on an airliner.
My client specifically, the allegations made against him, it's become more difficult for a defence solicitor to obtain evidence and even the details of the charges that have been brought against their client.
Like many in the legal profession, Mr. Duncan is also concerned about the separation of the judiciary from the government.
Our democracy is based on a number of principles. Separation of powers. The judiciary is to be independent of the executive. Increasingly the executive is being given powers that the judiciary formerly had. I view that as undemocratic, as do many other people.
Freedom of speech is another key concept of democracy. Veteran campaigner Brian Haw has been exercising this right outside Parliament for the last 6 years. He claims that it too is under threat.
The police were trying to say at one stage that I was the only person in the whole of our country, indeed the whole of the world, who can stand outside the British Parliament and freely speak.
Whilst it's easy to paint a dismal picture of the state of democracy in Britain, Mr. Facey doesn't believe the situation is all bad.
We have a kind of belief in fairness as a society. We are a long-standing democracy. We have a situation where, on the whole, our politics is largely non-corrupt.
A belief in fairness, a long-running democracy, and an absence of corruption. Regardless of the country's fondness for pageantry, most people would agree these are all qualities Britain needs to hold on to.